Canadian dollar is 4-year low against US dollar, currently sitting at 70.6 cents. US dollar is getting stronger against all the currencies of the world. On this day, December 9, 2012, 12 years ago, Canadian dollar was equal to United States dollar. Since then, it has been declining, and as of today, it has lost its value by 30%. Why is this happening? The currency depreciates if its demand is lower as compared to its supply, or its demand is lower against the demand of the currency being compared. There are many reasons for it. In case of Canada, number one reason is the low productivity, or I would say declining productivity. If you have been watching my videos, you would know that Canada's productivity got hit in 2020 and it has been going down since then. The productivity among G7 countries got Canada 6th spot, only above Italy. Among OECD countries, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Canada's spot is 18th. You see, when productivity of a country declines, the goods and services produced in that country also decline. There's not much produced, hence there is not much sold. So the demand for Canadian dollar went down in face of low productivity. This productivity has been declining for 4 years. Hence, Canadian dollar is at its 4-year low against United States dollar. The second reason is lowering of interest by Bank of Canada. When Bank of Canada reduces its interest rate, the money becomes cheaper. People go to the bank, they borrow the money, they spend that money or invest that money in the economy. In the economy, the money supply increases in general, and the supply increases more than its demand, and the currency depreciates. So higher money supply has put pressure on Canadian currency. The third reason is government direct payments to the people. We all know that $500 per week was given to a lot of people from March 15 to September 2020. This increased the money supply in the economy, and the demand of the currency went down against the supply. This resulted in depreciated Canadian dollar. Of course, the payment was also given to the Americans by their government. But America does not have productivity issues just like Canada has. In fact, their productivity increased by 10% in past decade. Loonie declining against American dollar is not much big of a deal. In fact, it is not really fair to compare Canadian dollar with American dollar, because American dollar has a reserve currency status. After World War II, Bretton Woods Agreement made United States dollar a reserve currency for 44 allies who fought in World War. During the war, these countries bought weapons and goods from United States of America to be used in the war. And they paid in gold. Once the war was over, they ran out of their gold reserves. So this agreement was signed that allowed these countries to keep US dollars in reserves. As of today, 58% of all reserve currency kept by different countries all over the world is United States dollar. As long as these countries keep US dollar as their reserve currency, US dollar will never go down in demand. Canadian dollar does not enjoy such privilege. The bigger problem for Canada is that Canadian dollar is declining against all the major currencies. There are 10 currencies that are most traded all over the world. We're going to compare Canadian dollar against each of these currencies and see which currency is appreciating against Canadian dollar, which currency is depreciating against Canadian dollar. So these are the top currencies that are mostly traded in the whole world. US dollar, euro, Japanese yen, pound sterling, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, Chinese renminbi, Hong Kong dollar, New Zealand dollar. Against euro, for this month, Canadian dollar has depreciated since November 23, and in the whole year, we are close to the lowest point. When it comes to Japanese yen also declined in this month. Probably it's because of the election in United States of America. But throughout the year, against Japanese yen, Canadian dollar has declined, and it has declined big time after July 8th. Against pound sterling, it is declining. In a year, it has been consistently declining, coming to its lowest point as of today at 0.55 pound sterling for 1 Canadian dollar. The Australian dollar, for this month, it was okay. It actually went up, it's green. But for the year, it is more or less the same at the median level. It went high early in February, and it was at its lowest in July 13. Now it is around somewhere in the middle, December 10th. So we can say that it did not depreciate or appreciate against Australian dollar. Against Swiss franc, against Swiss franc this month, it has declined. For the year, yes, it has declined and it is close to its lowest level against Swiss francs. When it comes to Chinese yen, this month it is on its downward spiral, and in the year since 23 December, it is at its lowest point again. In this currency too. When it comes to Hong Kong dollars, Hong Kong dollar has also shown the same trend. Canadian dollar is declining big time against Hong Kong dollar. When it comes to New Zealand dollar, it is like up and down for this month, and same for the year. But in a nutshell, we can say that against New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar actually appreciated a little. It's not at its lowest point, it is not at its highest point either. So if you look at all these currencies, around 44% USD is the most traded currency all over the world. Then comes Euro, Japanese yen, Great Britain pound, Australian dollar, Swiss franc. Against all these major currencies, for most of them, Canadian dollar has depreciated. Only two currencies, it has held its value for some time up till now against New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar. Otherwise, against all the currencies, Canadian dollar has depreciated. Now, of course, it is bad that Canadian dollar is declining, but not all the things associated with depreciating currency are bad. There are certain people who actually get benefited by depreciating currencies. Let's see one by one who are those people and how they get benefit from depreciating currencies. And if people don't get benefit out of depreciating currencies, what are the reasons for that? The exporter in Canada would really get benefit from depreciating currency, because the importer outside Canada will find the products and services here in Canada cheaper. They would buy more of them and the exporter can sell more of them. So depreciating currency, depreciating Canadian dollar is good for Canadian exporters. In fact, this was recently mentioned by a senior economist in Canadian Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Andrew de Capois, in his interview. He said a depreciating dollar also helped lift exports for the first time since June 2024. The importer in Canada would never like Canadian dollar to depreciate. When the importer imports from another country, they pay in Canadian dollar, and if Canadian dollar is depreciating against another currency, let's say for example United States dollar, they will have to pay more money for the same goods and services they were buying previously. So importers never get benefit out of depreciating currency. The declining Canadian dollar is also not good for the tourists going abroad. If Canadian dollar is depreciating, they will have to pay more to buy another currency of their destination where they are going, and the trip would be costlier to them. This is also verified by new report by CTV. It says Canadians turn domestic for holiday travels, with weak loonie discouraging US trips. The flights going to United States this holiday season are not booking fast, and there's a surge of booking in domestic flights. People are choosing to stay in Canada in the face of depreciating Canadian dollar. But the tourists who are visiting Canada, depreciating currency is a blessing for them. They can pay less and have more fun. This year, the international visitors to Canada also surged at major airports, and a lot of them were tourists. And probably tourism is going to get better in future if Canadian dollar kept declining. If you are a Canadian investor in some other country, let's say United States of America, depreciating currency is good for you, because whatever the profit Canadian investor is going to make in United States dollar, when it would be converted into Canadian dollar, the money would be more in amount. The profit you make in United States would be higher in Canadian currency. But if a foreign investor is in Canada, he won't be happy with depreciating Canadian dollar, because whatever profit he will make here, it would be smaller when it would be converted back into the currency of his home country. So weaker Canadian dollar does not attract foreign direct investment. The economic indicators as of now suggest that Canadian dollar is going to depreciate further in near future, but this is yet to be seen. I hope this video has provided some value to you. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.